So, acclaimed artist John Pizzarelli will be performing at the Irvine Barclay Theater. Here to provide us with all of the information on that performance is John himself. John, welcome to the show.
Hello, it's a pleasure to be with you. Thanks for having me.
There is just a little bit of delay. So tell us, this is super exciting. What can audiences expect from the collaboration between you, the Pacific Jazz Orchestra, and the Irvine Barclay Theater?
Well, for me, it's a great chance to play these arrangements, a number of arrangements that I've done with Don Sebesky over the years, and to hear them with the band and the strings as they were originally written, and to work with Cy, which will be the first time with Cy I've ever worked with her. And then with Christopher, we've worked together before, but I have never worked with the Pacific Jazz Orchestra, and it promises to be a really fun evening of music and entertainment.
It sounds fabulous. I'm going to try to sneak in and get a ticket and sneak in. Maybe I'll even come backstage and say hi.
Good idea. Great.
So how has your approach to the Great American Songbook evolved over the years?
Well, originally it was the idea of the Great American Songbook was finite. Was somewhere from the early 20s all the way to about 1964, where they used to say that the Great American Songbook ended with The Sound of Music, Rodgers and Hammerstein. But now, as in our show here at the Barclay Center, the Barclay Theater, we'll have some Beatles songs that, there's a lot more material that has become part of the Great American Songbook, even though they're, English songwriters, but they've been, taking pop songs and translating them into jazz has been something that I've done more and more since the beginning of my career. I guess with a trio, it's been about 34 years ago. So somewhere about 24 years ago, we started finding more songs written by pop artists like, Lennon and McCartney, by Paul McCartney, by Neil Young or Joni Mitchell or people like that, Paul Simon, Billy Joel, and translating them into jazz. That's been sort of an idea we've been trying to do more and more over the years.
I love that. So what was the inspiration behind that?
It was about trying to find people who like Beatle music but don't know a lot about jazz. So when they hear the songs they're familiar with in a style that they're not familiar with, they go, "Well, what was that?" So even if they hear "Can't Buy Me Love" as a jazz song, maybe it helps them to go, "Oh, now they're discovering a style of music they weren't familiar with." For the jazz fan, and they get jazz and they just hear new material. Everybody knows the Beatles pretty much, so it sort of works out. Sort of a win-win.
So in a way, you created a brand new genre by doing that.
Well, it's worked out well for me in that I feel like that's something that I've really concentrated on. Not entire, sometimes entire records, but just little pieces of material. Like in our show, we do the Beatles song "Honey Pie," and that was on a record of all older standards, and people were so taken by the fact that it was a Beatles song sounding like an old standard. And so I've sort of really worked on moving more and more songs into the style of jazz, and I think it's brought more fans to the party, as it were.
Yeah, I would imagine it just opened up a whole new spectrum. So tell us, what was the creative process behind your album Midnight McCartney?
Well, I was very lucky. Actually, Chris Walden and I both worked on that record. I was the rhythm guitar player. I know he helped Diana Krall get all the music together that they picked. And Paul McCartney wanted to make a record of standard songs of the Great American Songbook. And they got together, myself and Diana Krall and her rhythm section, and we came out to California. And after I did that record, I got a letter from Paul about a year later from Paul. And he said it would be great if you could make a record of my post Beatles songs. So
Okay.
we'll be doing, yeah, and that's how that worked out. So I made a record of all the songs he did sort of with wings, and one of them is called Coming Up.
Well, that sounds like an amazing opportunity that you had and took advantage of it. I can't wait to hear
Yeah,
some of
that
that
was it.
music.
The letter, I still have the letter in the envelope. It just sits and I don't do anything with it. I don't even
Oh,
look at it.
you should shadow box mount that. Put it on
Yeah,
your
and
wall.
yeah, I have to work on that.
There's a blank space right behind you.
Yeah,
I'll come design for you.
great.
So tell us how the Grammy nomination for With a Song in My Heart impact your career.
Well, I was lucky once again to work with Don Sebesky, and two of his arrangements were nominated for Grammys, and With a Song in My Heart had his arrangement of Johnny One Note, but what really was that sort of led to me, all these records that I made led to me working with James Taylor, and I worked on a record with him called American Standard, and we all won the Grammy for that record for Best Traditional Pop Vocal. So I was a co-producer on that record, and that was my first and only Grammy. And that was it's just nice to actually finally have something that says Grammy winner as opposed to Grammy nomination. So it's nice to have,
Oh,
a Grammy
wonderful.
on the shelf.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
there's still time for more.
Yes. Oh, plenty.
You got lots of time. Open up a shelf and start stacking them up.
That's right.
What did that recognition mean to you, both personally and professionally?
Um, well, just the idea that I've been able to work with, I've opened for Frank Sinatra. I worked with Rosie Clooney and Ricky Lee Jones, Natalie Cole. I've been in these bands, worked on records with Paul McCartney. It's nice. It's just nice to be, the awards are fun. I mean, I really love having my Grammy it's on the piano. But I just like the fact that I made records with all these people because I've worked on my guitar playing enough that people want me to play on their records. And with Rosemary Clooney, I got to actually sing with her too. So those kinds of things, it's part of what the career is about, and it makes it fun, and it's nice to spend time with these people and be able to make records that you can play for your children and show people, yeah, I made a record with these people. It's sort of exciting.
Well, it's an honor, but well deserved, right? You've put in the time and the effort and the energy, and
Right.
you've built your career. So what did you learn
Yeah,
about
the work is the hard work pays off, and eventually
eventually? Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's more to come, but tell us, what did you learn about your appearances both on major television shows and your Broadway debut?
the Broadway debut now is 27 years old. That was amazing. That was sort of shocking because that was totally outside of my comfort zone. I had never been on a Broadway stage, so it took a little time to get used to them. And by that time, the show was over. But I like. There's been a lot of interesting moments like that have. Uh, they're all teaching moments. I sort of like those things. It's about taking in the moment
Right.
and trying not, I've had a lot of moments where I wish I could go back and do that.
Oh, don't we
Uh,
all? Don't we all?
yeah. So I'm trying not to have those moments as much as I get older.
What was the Broadway show?
The Broadway show was called Dream. It was a show of all Johnny Mercer music. And I just was sort of a musical, I played the guitar with my trio, and they brought us in and out.
Oh,
And
okay.
I didn't have to dance, thank God. That was something that would have ended a lot sooner.
I'm sure you would have been great. John, let's remind the folks about the details. The show is at the Irvine Barclay Theater,
Yes.
Saturday, September 7th at 8 p.m.
Yes, and we'll have Cy Smith with us and Christopher Walden and the Pacific Jazz Orchestra. It's a really great evening of music, and it's a great place to play music too. I love that place. That theater is wonderful.
Okay. Well, we'll let our folks know here how to get tickets.
Great.
John, what a pleasure. What a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us with the Pacific Jazz Orchestra and John Pizzarelli.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Like pizzicato.
Pizzicato.
Thank you so
Making me
much for
hungry for
having me.
Italian.
Yes. Thanks for having me, and we'll look forward to seeing everyone at the Barclay Theater in
Very
Irvine.
much looking forward to it. Thank you for being here with us. Such a pleasure, John.
Thank you very much.
And we'll be right back after these messages. This is This Day on Village Television.